Roughstock. The word brings to mind something wild and dangerous. For over a century, cowboys have been trying to tame, wrangle, or herd bucking horses and powerful bulls. These were rugged individuals and uncontrollable animals. And somewhere along the line, a dare was made, because there's always a bronc that couldn't be rode and a cowboy that couldn't be throwed. It was out of this need for competition, born out of a need to work, that this most unique of all American sports were born. And today, we celebrate that heritage of work and the thrill of competition by presenting you with the ultimate challenge, matching the age-old clash of American icons. It's the best bareback, saddle bronc, and bull riding exhibition on the planet, all brought together under one roof in one season-long series. For the first time, the roughest riders, the toughest stock, is the Professional Roughstock Series.
This telecast of the Professional Roughstock Series is brought to you by Wrangler, Long Live Cowboys, Pro Tank Products, innovative oil field storage solutions, Kershaw Knives, there's nothing like a Kershaw, Rocky Boots, we're with you, Bismarck Ranch, ranching as nature intended, and Birch Rodeo, our stock is always rising.
Hello everyone, I'm Justin McKee, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to the most exciting new series in American sports, the Professional Roughstock Series, the PRS. In the next half hour, we're going to saddle up and get an inside look at the three events that make it happen: bareback riding, saddle bronc riding, and the bull riding. We'll look at the highlights of our past season and preview what's ahead for the new year. Plus, we'll look at the other half of the equation, the livestock. It wouldn't be possible without the bucking horses and the bulls. So, we invite you to get on board. The Professional Roughstock train is leaving, and it's going to be a good ride. Welcome back to our Professional Roughstock 101. We're here with the president and vice president of the Professional Roughstock Series, Spud Whitman and Scott Reeder. And first of all, Spud, tell us how it got started.
Well, I tell you, basically how it got started was, if you look at it, lots of times when them people buy a ticket, the majority of them, not everyone, but lots of times you like to watch the rough stock, the dangers there.
Well, there's always been a separation in the arena between the roughies and the timies.
Yeah, I just feel like that that's a show that we can bring to people, and it is very enjoyable.
And you're feeling a need out there, and especially in the time of the year, Scott, where there's not a lot of rodeos going on, because most of these events take place in coliseums around the country.
They do, you know, and we want the people to bring it into their homes so that they know the cowboys, they get to know the horses, and they feel the excitement that we feel when we go to these events.
You know, there's been a popularity in raising bucking bulls for several years, but here lately, Scott, there's been an explosion of bucking horse breeders that didn't exist 10 or 20 years ago, and they are really excited, which in turn gets the fans excited to see these superstar animals.
I tell you what, we've got some of the most beautiful animals there are, especially the horses. Everybody loves horses. Watching these caliber of horses get matched up with this caliber of cowboys, it's exceptional. We have got some superstars that our fans are going to love. I know we do.
Is that a worry that the animals might take over in the popularity department, or is that what you want, Spud?
Yeah, I have no trouble. I'd love to make a rock star out of some of them things. That'd be neat.
Scott, as we talk about some great combinations of an animal and a rider, already, even in this infancy of this organization, there's been some big rides.
I tell you what, two of the best ones that I can come to mind is at our finals last year in Salina. We had Chad Furley on Lunatic Fringe, and then we had Jesse Wright on Chuckulator. One of the premier matchups that's still talked about and will be talked about for a long time to come. It was something special to watch.
Spud, you have been to the PBR finals 5 times. You know bull riding. I want to talk about bull riding right now. That's one of the 3 events, and a lot of people out there still just scratch their head and they go, why would anybody want to be a bull rider? You
know, Justin, I knew when we started today you'd ask that question. That's a typical question. I think it's the love of the game, you know, and what you're doing. You know, it's been a while now since I've been on one, and when I was riding, I think the TV was probably still black and white.
You're right.
It was quite a while back when, but You know, it's a major adrenaline rush. 1 minute you're right next door to feeling like you're fixing to get flipped out of there and run over, and the next minute you're in the middle one getting the whistle. A lot happens.
Fellas, I want to ask you, where do you see the Professional Roughstock Series 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I see us being the forefront. I see everything changing. I see young riders coming up and getting a name. I see horses that are as popular as anything in the country. I really feel with the, you take those world-class athletes, and then you match them up against that stock like we do, it's a show. I see it only going bigger.
I mean, this really is a kind of a modern, real-life Western every time you have a show.
It is, and I'll tell you what, these cowboys today are a lot different from the cowboys from the olden days because they specialize in these events and they work hard, they have dedication to become the professional athlete that they have become. And we see that in the horses as well. And we want to take that to the next level and put it in the hands of our fans on their TVs so that they get to watch it every week.
Our main goal is every time we have an event, I want the fans, the sponsors, I want them to buy that ticket, and when they left that show, I'd really like those fans to be thinking, man, we got all that and we only paid this.
Yep.
I think that's important. Give them more than what they want.
Well, fellas, let's talk about the format of the Professional Roughstock events, especially the Wrangler Final Four.
Naturally, guys want to go and they want to get on one animal and win a pile of money. We knew we needed a way to really highlight the great rides, the stock. So the Wrangler Final Four come into effect. That's where you see the four rankest animals, and those top four guys from the long round come in and get on them. I really feel like it was a good decision because it really sells a show. Yeah, you watch a lot of great rides, but you're going to stick around because you want to see that Final Four. You want to see your Chucky Laters and this and that go at it with the top guys.
Nothing better than head-to-head competition in any sport, in my opinion, Scott.
Absolutely. And these cowboys, some of these cowboys wait a long time to be able to get on the caliber of horses that we have, and we do it every week.
Yep, and for the folks watching at home, when you get done watching a program one week, you can't wait for the next week of the Professional Roughstock Series to come into your living room. Spud, Scott, thank you very much for being with us here. And when we come back, we'll get inside the chutes with Bareback World Champion Kelly Timberman, and later, another member of our broadcast team, World Champion Saddle Bronc rider Monty Hawkeye Henson, brings his insight into one of the most difficult of all the disciplines, saddle bronc riding.
This portion of Professional Roughstock is brought to you by Tres Rios Silver, the official buckle of the PRS, STS Ranchwear, Silver Lining Herbs, Foothills Feeders, and Wrangler. Long live Cowboys.
Welcome back to Professional Roughstock 101. We are getting ready to talk about the bareback riding. We have world champion bareback rider Kelly Timberman, who's going to be the eyes and ears behind the chutes at these events in 2013. Congratulations on your new gig.
Thank you.
You excited about that?
Oh man, I love it. It's fun always being able to go to a rodeo for one thing, and be able to come to an event where it's just roughstock. It doesn't get any better than that. It's my cup of tea, man,
Right.
And then the livestock. I mean, that's the whole reason that I ever rode bucking horses, is because I love those horses. And to be able to have a chance to actually show those to the public, it's a great opportunity for me.
Continue to live the dream.
Big time.
And you are also going to help fulfill the dreams of a lot of young people. Tell us about what you're doing.
Absolutely. Any athlete that has ambition to go either at a higher rank in professional ranks or high school, collegiate level, doesn't matter. I've set up a system to train these young athletes to teach them the discipline, the daily method of operation and work ethic, power positivity, and just basic good cowboy ethics. It builds their self-esteem, their focus, their mental toughness. It's a win-win, not only in rodeo, but in life, because they can utilize this system anywhere.
For those people who have never seen bareback riding, what can you give them as far as something to look for a great bareback ride?
I believe 90% of the ride comes from the animal.
Even though half the score comes from the animal.
Yeah, because without that horse, you're unable to perform
To do
the
your
way.
half.
Yeah, exactly. So the better the animal, the better the ride. So the higher that horse bails in the air, higher he kicks over his head, the better the ride's going to be. But you want to see a guy that's very controlled, that's not flopping around, his free arm's not behind him. He's really controlled on top of that animal. And at the same time, his spurring motion is from the front of the shoulder, then to go all the way above his rigging handle, not to the rings or the base of the horse's shoulder, but above his rigging handle and then back to the middle part of the neck. Not down towards the point of the shoulder, below the shoulder, but actually in the neck. You have to be mentally tough. You step behind a chute and you're getting on a 1,500-pound horse. There's a lot of times that you're going to be beat just by psyching yourself out. It's not that you don't have the ability to ride that animal. Of course you do. If I can do it, anybody can do it. But the whole principle with bareback riding is beat the horse to the punch. If that horse jumps in the air, you want to be able to spur back over your rigging handle, set your feet before that horse ever breaks over and touches the ground.
Let's talk about some of your personal highlights on the Professional Roughstock Tour last year.
You know, the finals was just a fun time to see, and to see the quality of livestock that was out, the quality of athlete. And that's one thing that people miss on is the, for one, the livestock, but the camaraderie that's combined with the roughstock riders is unbelievable, because we don't compete against each other. We have to compete against that animal before we can ever compete against the next guy. So if one of my friends has seen the horse that I'm getting on, and I've never been on him, he'll tell me the characteristics of that horse, so I have a better chance to ride this horse successful. That's that whole cowboy image that we talk about. It's all heart. Roughstock riders are all heart. They really are.
It goes back to helping your neighbor out.
That's right.
Who needs a helping hand.
Absolutely.
Tell us about a horse that the fans can look forward to watching in 2013 that you like and that the bareback riders can score a lot of points on.
Well, one of my favorites is Big 85. It's a horse that, one of the first horses I was ever 90 points on. He is a phenomenal athlete. He's been to finals probably more times than I have. He's a superstar. He's one to see for sure.
A lot of athletes have trouble hanging up their spurs. It doesn't sound like that's going to bother you much.
No, you know, it's funny too, because I was worried about that. I'm not going to lie. I was worried about it because I love rodeo so much that I didn't know how I was going to take it. I haven't missed it at all. And one of the reasons because I'm still associated with rodeo, with the PRS, but then also being able to train these young aspiring athletes, I get more out of watching those kids be successful than I ever did winning any championship myself.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to having you behind the chutes and bringing that insight and your energy to the series this year in 2013. You know, one of the distinguishing characteristics of the PRS is the diversity between each of these different disciplines. Bull riding is grit and determination, and as we found out, bareback riding is strength and endurance. Our third event, it's saddle bronc riding, and it's something different all itself. Joining me now is three-time world saddle bronc riding champion Monty Hawkeye Henson, who's also a member of the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. We're going to talk saddle bronc riding right now. And Baxter Black said it best, I think, when talking about saddle bronc riding. He compared it to playing the guitar. It's the easiest thing to do poorly, I believe he said. Well, that'd be a good comparison?
It's so funny, yeah, and I understand completely what he means. It's so funny to have so many guys that come to those schools. I still have 4 or 5 rodeo schools here, bronc riding schools. So many of them come because they watched it on TV, and it looks just like this is all you do. Well, if that's all you did, there'd be 650 bronc riders instead of 125 bronc riders out there, you know. And it's harder to learn than the bareback riding or the bull riding for one reason. Those stirrups hold you long enough. The first thing that hits the ground is your head.
How do you take something that is so difficult to learn and make it look easy?
You know what the hardest thing for me, looking back, overcome was you draw one of those horses who've been to the finals when you're first starting out. Instead of oh boy, at first I was oh no. And when I finally turned that around to oh boy, I don't care what he is, what do you got today? I must have the one I wanted. Why? Because nobody else wants this one, I'll tell you that. When you learn to take that kind of attitude and apply it, even if one doesn't buck with you, it's way better to go through it with that attitude of, hey, he's got one good trip in him and it might be today. You still got to do your job no matter if he turns cartwheels. You see what I'm saying?
What makes a good ride in your opinion?
It's all about getting started. It's all about the spur out. It's all about how your feet come out of one. Whether you spur one out first or 1 jump, 2 jumps, or 3 jumps, the most important jump is the jump after your feet come out, getting them placed back in him before his front feet hit the ground. If you can do that, that sets your whole ride. You're already tapped, you're already there.
We've been talking a lot about feet. Let's talk about what you can do with your rein to style a little more.
Well, yeah, you can, and by lifting on it, as you can see, what it does, it brings my butt right down under. You need your butt in front of you. By lifting on that rein and going to the front, that's every jump what I do. Well, when he hits the ground and starts taking my rein, my feet come out. Look what he does to my upper body. He pulls me forward. As he tips over again, that's when I set down, lift on my rein, and go to the front at the same time. A bronc rider to me is a horse that takes his head, puts his head down, and you run the heels of your boots in him, and he kicks them out for you.
Don't you think that with the advent of the Professional Roughstock Series, with the livestock and the top caliber guys, there's going to be a lot of great rides?
Oh, there is a lot of great rides. What I like about the 3 events together, I think you can go anywhere with the 3 riding events. But the caliber stock we got, when we get to see the look on them guys' faces, J.R. Verzane, when he makes a 90-point ride, or any of the other ones. I'm not just putting him out, but seeing what they do when they do it right, that feeling they got, it re-inputs it in me, I guess you would say.
Yeah, what got you started this mountain like that?
Bobby Brown's the one that can do it. I get all the credit, but Bobby Brown can do it better than anybody. I don't know, I just thought it was neat first time I saw him do it. Of course, learning how to jump off is about as hard as learning how to ride bronc.
Well, Monty, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, sir.
When we return, we'll spend some time on the other side of the equation. We'll learn about the animals of the PRS. These 3/4-ton animals have got more moves than a bobcat with his tail on fire. And how well they're cared for. We're going to learn about that by talking to 2 of the best stock contractors in the business coming up next. Welcome back to Professional Roughstock 101, where half of the score from any ride comes from the animal, and we're going to talk about those animals and what makes them tick. We've got 2 premier stock contractors of the Professional Roughstock Series, Steve Sutton from South Dakota and Matt Birch from Wyoming. Fellas, good to have you on the show. Matt, first of all, let's talk about these animals, and in your opinion, what makes these animals buck?
No, the breeding on them. We've been raising bucking horses for 20-some odd years. I mean, you try to breed the best stud to the best mare. It's like raising race horses. You're trying to put run in them, we're trying to put buck in them.
And Steve, you know all about that. Your family's been in the business of raising bucking horses for over 50 years, and it takes a while to get to where you want to be. How long does it take to get a horse ready to buck?
It's different in the racehorse world. You know, they run them as 2-year-olds, and we don't buck very many horses at 2. You might look at them one time, and when they get to be 5, 6, 7, you can put a few trips on them and get them out on the road a little bit. To get that one that really bucks, and like Birches and us, we raise 99, if not 100% of what we haul, and that definitely makes it more fun.
Now tell us about all the years you spend with these animals. There gets to be a pretty good connection between your family and the horse family.
My wife accuses me all the time of not knowing the birth dates of our kids, but I can tell you every number on every bucking horse for 100 years, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they're family.
Matt, let's talk about the bulls. How much different is it raising bulls to buck than bucking horses?
Like my dad always said, raising a bucking bull is a lot easier than raising a bucking horse. For years, the cavalry's tried to breed the buck out of horses. Anything buck, they got rid of.
Yeah.
Nobody was breaking bulls to ride, you know, so the buck was still installed in the bloodlines of a bucking bull, just over years of matching Bramer Southern genetics with, you know, Hereford, Angus type English breeds. I would say the bull business is a lot easier to raise a bucking bull.
And you can buck the bulls sooner.
Oh yeah, you can buck bulls when they're 2, 3 years old, but you got to, because the bull's longevity is way shorter than a horse.
You know, animal well-being is a primary concern, and you guys are at the forefront, not just at the ranch, but how you haul these animals when they get there.
Feed's very important. I mean, nutrition's very important. It don't matter what sport you're in or what animal. Hauling them is probably as tough on them as anything. The miles you go and in the season that it happens, and when you get there, the facility that they've got to relax in. I mean, you know, they only perform for 8 seconds that weekend, but you've got to make them comfortable up to that 8 seconds and want them to go to the next one.
And you stop and take a lot of breaks along the way if you've got a long trip.
You know, contractors are different. Some say they want to stop every 10 hours. Some say, oh, get there a day early and let them rest then, you know, and I'm kind of a believer in that. I mean, get them there and let them have that day ahead of time and stuff, too.
Matt, is one of the keys to finding successful bucking animals being able to pick out the ones that absolutely love this more than anything?
Oh yeah. Right away you can tell a horse that's more spooked of things. They can't handle the pressure. Some of them are going to be able to fit right in and move on. And
well, let's get to the subject I know you guys are ready to talk about, and that's your superstars. And Steve, you guys have raised the Horse of the Year for the Professional Roughstock Series and for Pro Rodeo Chuckulator and Lunatic Fringe. Matt, you guys have got a superstar horse that everybody's talking about. He was the top money horse in the Professional Roughstock Series last year. It doesn't get any better than head-to-head competition.
No, and you know, like you said, it's great to raise a superstar because it don't happen every day. You know, a lot of people say it's a competition between stock contractors too, and you know, yeah, we like to see both of them perform, and it's fun to see them in the same arena because they sell tickets, and the fan is what this is all about too. I mean, they're a big part of it.
Matt, do they get any special treatment?
Oh yeah, I mean, like Steve said, they're both studs, so they don't get mixed with other horses. Well, he's with a son, a stud that we call Fringe Benefits right now. Mm-hmm. They're in the same little trap, so they get a little more special treatment. He just was big, flashy, big paint, and we figured that he looked like the right type, the right mare, so we took a chance on him and we got lucky. That's basically what bucking horse business is.
Is lucky. Matt, tell us about your crew. There's one little bitty fella that does a lot of work at your place. Tell us about Buddy.
Buddy's a little Welsh Corgi dog. We've had him, I think he's 11 years old this year. He loves going and sorting horses. The funniest thing about Buddy is he's a hard-working little dog, but his legs are only about that long. I've never seen a dog with more try. I wish he had legs that long.
Gets the job done?
Oh, he gets the job
Stays
done.
Out of the way?
Oh, for the most part. He's been kicked around over enough. He knows how to get out.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, gentlemen, we sure do appreciate you being on the show and for taking care of the animals. We love to watch buck. And anyway, stay safe on the road, and we look forward to a great year.
Thank you, Justin.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed taking a look at Inside Professional Roughstock as we've had the opportunity to get to know some of the people that make it happen, as well as the livestock, all the personality that has been put together to bring you one of America's most exciting and dangerous series. We'd like to invite you to log on to professionalroughstock.com for the latest news, highlights, and tour schedule. Find out if Pro Roughstock will be coming to your city in 2013. For our guests, Matt Birch and Steve Sutton, and for Scott Reeder, Bud Whitman, Hawkeye Henson, and Kelly Timberman, I'm Justin McKee. We'll see you next week as we open the 2013 Professional Roughstock season.